Yes, indeed. We're going to talk about it Did this man have a death wish or what? Did this man have a death wish or what? Mike Tyson? Come on, man. Are you serious? Not only that, but you're in a enclosed space and you're harassing this man. Now I'm hearing 50 million different stories about it, the details on what he was saying to him, and they had the videotape. It was a setup also. He wanted to get paid. There was no arrest. It was obvious. You have witnesses. You're in an enclosed space. Mike Tyson and this gentleman, not that he's a gentleman, on a flight from San Francisco to Florida. Mike Tyson had went to the 420 event for cannabis because he has his own cannabis farm. And the first thing that really hit me about this, because everybody's talking about it, you probably saw 5 or 6 other shows about it. So because folks know I love boxing so much, they want to hear my point of view on it. And I want to welcome everybody. I had an extremely busy day, and I got a lot done, and I'm actually supposed to be joining a Zoom meeting soon, so this is not going to really be super long. I will say that tomorrow, I have an event tomorrow. It's a strongman competition, and it's going to really be something, right? I made a really wonderful connection. It's going to be life-changing for me, kind of fell in my lap, and I'm going to enjoy this. So that and bodybuilding here in Ghana, I'll be covering directly into the events. So it's nice to be back, you know. But the whole Mike Tyson thing, not even the incident. You keep poking the bear. You keep poking the bear. No matter how much people say he's a great guy right now, he is a great guy, and he was always a great guy to me because I always understood Mike Tyson. But, you know, the first thing that hit me is when I went to just do a fact check that this incident was real, which I kind of knew it was, you know, when I heard about it, but I wanted to go see it for myself. I thought something that pretty much most people didn't think about. I'm not special, but I follow boxing heavily. Ever since I saw at the age of 8, Muhammad Ali fight Joe Frazier in 1971 on March 8th. A couple of years I hung with the comic books, but I got rid of them because my superheroes were heavyweight boxers and just boxing in general. So I have a special feel for that. And that's something I wanted to get into, that now when I look back on it, having done bodybuilding, I wish I would have just did boxing. I felt I would have did better, you know. but you never know these things, and you might get your brains knocked out. Superman Haru, the Dark Goddess, Illuminated Soul 876. 876, so you're in the Caribbean, right? So, okay, let me just shoot from the hip instead of just trying to format it like it's some show. It is a show, but I'm home. We're gonna do our thing for a little short time, and I will be picking up on the lives from this weekend, from tomorrow after the event. Just every night do a live. Why not? But what shocked me is the responses that I saw in the comment sections of many of the videos that had this story out. It shocked me. And they're going to say, well, you're going to turn this thing around to be racial. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because what if Mike Tyson had died right after he bit Evander Holyfield's ear? You see, Caucasians, they used to say the worst things about Mike Tyson back in those days. I don't forget nothing. I'm going to bring it up. This is my slant on this story. You had some nasty things to say about him. Now he's a great guy. What happened? It took you a little longer to see his humanity. You don't know this man's upbringing, but you're going to demonize him for acting like an animal. But what? Guess what? You pay to see two black men fight each other as animals. You get a thrill from that because that's what you are. I'm kind of angry at seeing how, oh, he's a great guy. Because if half of you could have snuffed him and wiped him off the face of the earth back in that day through the things you felt, you would have did it. So this is why I don't try to seek validation from them. I'm not saying Mike Tyson has. Mike, you just see now what is underneath the pain and frustration and bad choices. But y'all would have, I was driving actually a Lincoln Town Car in 1998 for a good long while. You have to put the suit on and, have yourself really looking a certain way. And it was for two companies. One was more traditional and the other one was more leaning toward the entertainment field. And I met a lot of people in the entertainment industry, not even super big people, but people who are there, like holding down positions. And around that time, after that bite fight and things come up, it's like that's all I heard. There was one white woman who was in the back seat. She got it, of course, it's the back seat. She jumped in. Money's never exchanged. It's an account they have. Companies have accounts and they sign off vouchers. And then that's how we get paid. We collect our vouchers, right? So she jumped in the back seat. Oh my God, and jumped out. And I turned around and I looked at her because you're not really supposed to initiate conversation driving your Lincoln Town car or limousine or whatever, unless they initiate conversation. You're not supposed to play the radio unless they want it because they're paying for that space. They might have had a hard day's work and they want to sit there with their paper, just stare off into space. But most of the time people, or half the time, they'll strike up a conversation. So I didn't say anything. I wanted to see where she was coming because she didn't leave. So she finally got back in staring at me, looking at me. And I turned my face sideways and I said it clearly. I said, ma'am, is everything okay? And so she says, yes. She says, but I saw the back of your head and I could have sworn it was Mike Tyson. And I'm like, they think we all look alike. Now, maybe if I was picked as a type, or you that kind of type, the kind of head you got, if you put the tattoo on the side, well, maybe but people know, you know your family, right? But I couldn't believe it. She went on a rant. Oh, he's an animal. He bit that man's ear. They should put him in front of a firing squad. He's a rapist too. He's this, he's that. But see, they have a fascination with fighters because, especially black heavyweight, fierce fighters, because that's somebody who they don't want to run into in the alleyway, right? That's somebody who they don't want to run into where it's one-on-one on a dark street. You see, these little white boys that do stuff like harass a person, unless they had a purpose, they wouldn't dare do something like that when there's nobody around. I remember walking down the street. This had to be, it was 1980 or 1981, and I was well into training, going into bodybuilding shows. And I always kept myself covered after a while, so nobody really knew what I looked like under my clothes. And I'm walking down in the street, but there's a car coming my way on my block. But I'm walking next to the parked cars on the driver's side. This car was coming up. I'm not thinking nothing about it. All of a sudden, at the last minute, this white face pops up, boom, and spits right in my face. And they drove off. Man, oh man, oh man. If I would have knew that he was coming that way, I would have caught him. And with the car coming up, he would have been dangling out of the thing. I had to go home and wash my face. I felt so dirty. I took off all my clothes again and washed my body. I was on my way to the gym. I was so mad. See, I tell all my stories, even if it doesn't make me look cool. There's nothing I could have done. But they do stuff like that. But I bet you, if they didn't think that he had a sense of humanity now because you're getting to know him because of the internet and a lot of the pain is gone. Not gone all the way, but people accept him now because you see what was buried under the rage. Now you want to do something to him, but you wouldn't do nothing to him back in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s. No, you're like, oh, because you have a fascination with these larger than life black men that you see, not just Mike Tyson, but you see our essence and you're fascinated with it because it's so powerful. They stare at you and they say things to themselves like, oh, I wouldn't want to run into you. Oh, you intimidate me. Now my screen is black, as you can see. So there's no way I'm taking calls because my phone is malfunctioning. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna cut the ringer down. There's probably somebody watching. So let me just check on Lance and see how he's doing. How you doing, man? What are you doing? Always do that. They're gonna keep calling back too. In the middle of a live show. I'm gonna blow them up on the next show. But anyway, matter of fact, let me cut this phone off. But I can't because we just push these buttons and see if I can get it off because folks are gonna start calling. It's like they can sniff when I'm coming out of doing my work. Okay, phone's off, everybody. So call the voicemail. And Oyala, I still owe you. You're at the top of the list, sweetheart, with your beautiful self, right? Anyway, now that he is defanged, right? They don't look at him as a threat. It's like that tired old lion at the zoo who may still have his fangs, but he's old. Not that Mike Tyson is, but he's not in his prime of being so ferocious. And now you want to pet and you want to get near and you might play a little rough with this lion because you know that he's not going to do to you what he would do to you. And this is what this man did, this young man here did. And another person was across videotaping. And he knew it. So they were in cahoots as far as I'm concerned. And Mike Tyson sitting there, he kept messing with him. Then the next thing you see, Mike Tyson just going in on him, but not really punching him. I don't know if he punched him or smacked him a little bit here and there, but there was a little blood on the side of his head, deservedly so. Now, go to the comment section on TMZ, especially the audience at TMZ. I mean, I check in there because of what I do to check up on the latest stories. Not that I'm some reporter, but we have fun talking about things in current events and bringing it around to a certain point. And I saw nothing negative about Mike Tyson. But if this was 25 years ago, some of those same people, now maybe some were younger and didn't know, but because of the magic of video, you see everything. But there were so many people invested emotionally to be so much against Mike Tyson. Where are they now? Oh, Mike Tyson, he served the guy right. He kept harassing him. Mike's a great guy. Why would he do something to Mike Tyson? A legend. Oh, I have so much respect for him. Where are these people from 25 years ago? I know half of them might be dead. But where are they? You see how things can change? But did they really change? And this is what fools people when they're younger and they feel like, well, LanceScurv, you're always on this racist stuff. It's different now. Why? Because you can get a blowjob from a white girl? And because it felt good and she burped your babies, now you think it's a kumbaya moment? No, things ain't changed. You know how you have that spoon. You got a tall glass and you got some sugary drink mix in the bottom. And the spoon part is in the middle. And the middle is spinning, but the bottom ain't really spinning as fast until you take the spoon and put it down in the bottom and stir everything up. So what happens when circumstances happen to stir everything up? Huh? Don't be fooled. You are who you are, and they see the fame with Mike Tyson. He's defanged in their eyes. They finally see through his podcast and the things he's talking about now, oh, this is an intelligent man. He may not be educated as far as have gone to school and getting degrees, but I always said it, he's a very intelligent individual. But they didn't want to see the fact of the way he was brought up. The way he was brought up. People molesting him. He even said it. These strange guys would come in the neighborhood and they would make me get in the car and suck their dicks. 11, 10, 12 years old. Have we addressed that? I don't want to bring that up to throw it in his face. I'm just saying, most of y'all didn't know that. They used to call him Dirty Mike. And he was hungry half the time. And correct me if I'm wrong, there were a lot of men that came to visit his mother. For what? Guess what? So he was robbing and arrested all of these times. Was it 30-something times, almost 40 times? I'm not sure the number. It could be more than that. Brownsville. I know it over there. I have friends over there. When Mike Tyson was doing his dirt, let me see. I'm about 3 years older than him. He was born in June of 66. I was born in April of 63. So I'm 3 years older than him. So when I would go out to Brooklyn as a young man, say 15, 16 years old, he was out there doing that stuff. So now it's a miracle that with all that he had against him, and some guys are going to say, oh, for crying out loud, what do you mean? He blew $400 million. Well, wouldn't you blow that amount of money too if you didn't have the level of maturity and it wasn't put in you? You had Bill Caton, Jim Jacobs, who were his managers, right? And Jim Jacobs was the one that had more of a connection than Bill. Bill Caton was a standoffish, like this is just money, and he had no bond with Mike Tyson like that. Mike Tyson has this feeling with Customato, his trainer, that the very mention of his name brings tears to his eyes because he took time and invested time in him and treated him a certain way. And really gave him something to think, because Mike was always an intelligent guy. First of all, you're not going to be able to thrive in the hood. I don't mean thrive like you're making money big time, but you're not going to survive in the so-called hood, a really bad hood, unless you got some kind of smarts and some kind of instincts. That's why they call it the concrete jungle. And that's a fascination for people who grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth or grew up in a place where they never had to deal with that. I never had to deal with that. I grew up middle class. But on one side of the tracks or the other side of the tracks, that was always there. It wasn't too far. I have friends who were in some rough neighborhoods. I went and visited with them, and I knew what that life was like, but it didn't affect me because I didn't have to live it. But when you're young and soaking all this stuff in, you see it. I was always out in Brooklyn. I was always out there around New Lots and Snedeker and Mother Gaston. Can't see what I was always doing. There were girls out there that we used to go out there and see. But then the whole of New York City was like that, right? But seeing that and knowing other individuals who are there is one very close and dear friend of mine who was exactly from the same neighborhood. And he stayed out of trouble. And he has a wonderful mother who did the right thing by him, and sisters and a brother. And but he knows he has that grit. But people with my friend now, they see him genteel. They see him well-spoken. They see that he's smart. They see and rightful, oh, you're different. You came from that element in that area, but you're different. But mark my words, he's got just as much grit as Mike Tyson. Grit. Because that's the environment outside of his home that he had to live in. So like they say, you know, in Bed-Stuy, to do or die or whatever, same thing. Bed-Stuy is not far, right? And in those times when crack first hit, come on now, that was rough. You didn't even want to go out there. Queens was bad enough. So now Customato, and they love to frame this narrative. And maybe Mike Tyson might even say it to a point. Because at that age, when you have somebody invest in you and show you love and put time in with you, you know, we sort of glorify those things, right? We all have that uncle that we thought was great, but all the while he was drunk and we didn't know it. But we still, that doesn't factor in our head because we see the part that we see. We all have that cousin who was lazy and never worked a job, always bumming. It's like, we all going to work. How come are you all going to work? And how come I'm going to school, but he's sitting on the couch all day? But you loved him. You see past the character flaws. But the thing is with Customato, and maybe Mike Tyson would be very angry with me if I said that, Customato had a reason for having Mike Tyson there. And most people don't even realize that, right? See, as he so-called spun out of control after he won the heavyweight championship, right? He wasn't undergirded with a sense of accountability. Because when he did get in trouble up in Catskill, at the malls, at Colin, thank you so much. Much love and appreciation. Thank you so much. When he was getting in trouble in the malls, you know, he'd see a lot of white girls up there. It wasn't anything where he was trying to pick a race, whatever, but he'd see a backside, he'd squeeze it, touch a titty, something, and run. And everybody knew who he was because he had this big head. He was big for his age. He was strong. They knew that that was a local boxer, Mike Tyson. So here come the cops, or here come one of the store owners, the Customato, and they would arrange to pay him off, pay these guys off, instead of saying, hey, we're going to take something away from you that you love. You love boxing? Listen, that's not right to do. So he had a sense of privilege that he manipulated with Customato. He knew that he was always going to get away with stuff. So when he would do stuff, it was like, okay, I act like I'm sorry, but I know I'm going to get away because I'm what they want. See, Customato, people don't understand. The champion that he had was Jose Torres, light heavyweight, Floyd Patterson, and a host of others back in the 50s and 60s. But the mob was really running boxing back then. Not to say they don't touch it now from what I'm hearing, but they were really, you know, and Customato was an independent person who didn't want to go in for fixed fights. So he didn't play along with the program. So he was blackballed by the organizations that in the pocket from the mob, right? So now he's aging, he's getting older. He loves boxing. That was his whole thing. He was a great man for boxing, Customato, right? And he had the home up there where he took the kids and trained them, adopted them, and, you know, up in Catskill, you know, wayward boys who made bad decisions and didn't have much resources or support. And he teach them boxing. They all sit around the table and they're eating and they're training and he's sitting up there. He loved to have people listen to him because he would speak this philosophy and he would speak some good stuff. And this is what these children needed. Because I know me, when I sit down and speak to young men and young women, not that I know so much, but when I speak my experiences and talk real about it, they gravitate toward me. You know what I mean? So it's like, wow, you know? So he knew he can get away with stuff, right? So the flaw in the whole Customato story that the networks and TV build up, he saved this savage black man, young black man from himself. And there's always some white man saving somebody. And Mike Tyson's not going to look at it like that because that's a sensitive point in his life. But the way they kind of framed it, even I think it was a Kodak commercial that they had many years ago in the 80s, and they had Mike Tyson hugging, a picture of him hugging Customato and smiling. But I got no problem with the genuine thing, but Customato was not a saint. He wanted a champion again in boxing. He wanted to get back at the mob who probably had a reduced influence, not as much as back in the 50s and 40s, but he wanted to get back at them and get a champion again. And so when they brought Mike Tyson into the gym, they said, whoa, this kid is 13 years old, 14, whatever. Look at the size of him. And he knew how to train him because of his stature. Because Mike Tyson and myself, we're the same height. I'm 5'10". I'm short compared to these heavyweights, 6'4", 6'2", 6 feet. So when you're fighting somebody with long arms, you better know how to get in. You better know how to time them. Timing was a certain way. Mike Tyson would stand in front of a guy who was 6'4", and the guy's got a long arm, and the guy would jab him, and Mike Tyson would time the jab and maximize his reach and jab the guy back and hurt him and hit him right on back. It was amazing, the timing and the way he used his body and the low center of gravity to get up under the uppercuts, the hooks, to turn a guy who has long arms and make the long arms work against him. And I love seeing it because it was teaching me things, right? And so it was a sight to behold, and he worked hard on him, and he became champion, the youngest champion, 20 years old in the sport of boxing. And he probably could have won it at 19. The heavyweights weren't so strong then, but I'm not taking away from him because whoever was there, it would have been something, you know, but it wouldn't have been that way if he came around in the 70s. With Ali, Larry Holmes, Ernie Shavers, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Jimmy Young, who else? Even the second tier heavyweights were rugged. Back then in the 70s, I would say that is the greatest era collectively of heavyweights. And Ali lost 3 years of his prime and came back into that and dominated. I mean, he wasn't dominant. He had some losses. Ken Norton, Joe Frazier, Leon Spinks. We understand that. And later on, Larry Holmes and Trevor Berbick, 5 losses. But those other 2 don't even count because he already had Parkinson's. It was a crime what they did for him or to him, right? But Cus D'Amato got the victory of seeing him head in that direction, but he never saw Mike Tyson win the championship because he died. He died in 85, late 85. Yeah, 85. And it was 86 when he won the championship, right? One of them. Then he collected the belts up and everything like that, but he wasn't around no more. Cus D'Amato. But he wanted a champion, but the flaw that he implemented, I mean, the flaw of Mike Tyson was that he didn't have that sense of accountability. He could do what he wanted. Now you have this, when you look at the years now, right? 20 years old, heavyweight champion of the world, commercials, women, he's doing what he wants to do. He's still got this rage in him because really like 7 years before, let's just take 7 years before 20. What was Mike Tyson at 13? Well, we know what he was at 13. And I'm not saying anything bad, but we know how his outlook had to be. And you go from this to that in 7 years, not 7 years where you're 30 to 37, 40 to 47, 50 to 57. I'm just picking those numbers. Because once you get 25, 26 on up, like it was said in the show before, your brain doesn't develop until 25. He's heavyweight champ at 20. And within a 7-year span, he went from, I'm not saying he's nothing. We all have value as human beings, but probably in his mind, I'm nothing. I'm not going to live past the age of 20. I'm a piece of shit. I'm from the gutter. I'm nothing. And it's not true. And I'm glad he lived to be able to see that he is something, even beyond just the guy who's known by boxing. That you see that there's a human being under there that's worthy and loving and compassionate, although all that was buried under his experiences, unfortunately, that he had to be born into. I'm saying the same thing that I said way back then when all these white folks were saying they need to kill him because he's an animal, but they were paying money to see something because they're fascinated with danger. That's why they're jumping out of planes and all these bungee jumps and all this stuff and, mess with Mike Tyson and get smacked up. But they figure the guy that did that took a little safe bet, like, okay, I can get away with this a little more. He's going to be that humane person, but don't forget his basic DNA. Don't trigger somebody like that. And this is what we need more of. And now white folks are agreeing with him. Okay, all right. But I say, and I always say, we need more of that because they count on us as Black men, even though they want to say that we're savages, even though they want to say that we're these monsters. They know that we're the most humane people on the planet, pound for pound. And we're more apt to turn the other cheek. We're more apt to want to do it the peaceful way. And it's only when we're backed into a corner, we're not shooting the place up. Look at the statistics. Mass shooters. Black people, show me. Maybe one or two, right? But it's mostly angry white men with guns. But they're fascinated at our stuff because we're naturally born fighters and they want to take that away from us. You know, I mean, not that all black men can box and become heavyweight champ of the world, but they'll think twice before running up on somebody like me or anybody else. And I'm 59 years old. And they, oh, guy, you used to box, didn't you? I said, no, well, maybe I boxed oranges in the supermarket for a job. But I know, what you mean? Well, you look like, they're always sizing you up physically. Always worried about your sex drive. Oh, this weekend you probably banged out 4 or 5 of them, didn't you? Huh? What kind of homo thoughts are you having worried about my penis? That's what they just got some sick fascinations. But Custom Model, back to the point, he didn't do right by Mike Tyson. He set him up for a lot of other things to happen. You can't always pay somebody off. And now, how can you handle it as a mature man? You get 400 million, not all in one shot. I'm not saying him. I'm saying half of us would act like a fool. Probably me too. I do crazy things. 400 million. I mean, that was in his career up to that point, and he kind of blew most of it. I think he's worth like 15, 20 million now or something like that from the things that he's doing. And he can handle that. That's a lot of money, right? But that's based on the fact of who he is. And that's good. May he have more. Maybe he get the 400 million again. He'll be more wise with it because he understands more. And he got that on his own. That wasn't because of Custom Model. Custom Model didn't give a damn. Bill Caton, Jim Jacobs, it was business. I think Jim Jacobs had a little more heart, but it was like, hey, this is money. And if you're dealing with lots of money, it's easy to feign love to somebody. And Jim Jacobs, a trivial note, he was like the handball champ. I didn't know they had handball championships. They make up, I mean, they have this, but we all play handball in the hood, but you know, it's not like they just don't go to Harlem and tell them, don't go to Jamaica, Queens and tell them, because black folks and niggers will come and take that over too. But yeah, he did an interview with Muhammad Ali, a classic interview, so you know who it is, but you might not associate the name. But he left Mike Tyson ill-equipped for life. He didn't teach him the wisdom about and things about accountability and making him see it and show him tough love when he was a fledgling fighter. You know, we want to rush to the fast track and get a champion because I want to have another champion, a heavyweight champ that's destructive and take everything over next to my name because I'm the one who trained him. I'm the one who brought him up. I took care of him. I saw what was in him and I'm going to get the credit for it. And he does on a boxing level because he's a wise man. But he didn't do right by Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson probably won't agree with me. But I'm telling you what I see. And he was all those times paying off people in the mall, girls, this, that. Even Teddy Atlas, his former trainer, he's doing commentary now. And he's trained other boxers and pretty much out there. He put a gun to Mike Tyson's head because it was rumored that Mike Tyson either came on to the daughter. I don't think he touched his daughter with it. I don't know the details of it. But Mike Tyson did apologize. You can fact check those things because, you know, you hear different stories. So I don't want to say one way, but it's something to do with Teddy Atlas's daughter. And he wasn't having it because he didn't agree how Custom Model let him off so many times. He said, no, this is not about boxing. This is about what's right. And Teddy Atlas, he's a stand-up guy. He has a podcast, very interesting podcast. Even if you're not into boxing, the way he approaches it mentally and enthusiasm in the mind of how these guys work, he really gets into the head of an opponent, which shows you that boxing is more than just two guys swinging at each other. It's your mentality. It's your spirit. It's how you believe in yourself. It's all the things you came through to get to this point that makes you tough, not just physically tough, but mentally tough. You know what I mean? And I like the cerebral part of all sports, of anything. I love the mind thing. I love the mind games. I'm pretty good at it, but you got to know yourself in life. People play mind games with me all the time, and I just smack them around. We can't seem to get under his skin. You won't, because I done skin myself. There's no skin to get under, right? That's where you got to be. Be transparent and beat people to the punch. When they talk bad about you, I'll say something even worse. And they'll find out something they don't want to find out. Like, damn, he has a long history in life. There's a lot of things folks don't know about me. I'm not saying it's anything sinister, but I've been through a lot. So I've pretty much tasted a little bit of everything on the buffet of life. You know, and that's hands-on experience. That's not me reading a book or hearing about what somebody else went through. That's me hands-on. Birth, death, having money, not having money, being betrayed, being praised, being left alone, left for dead, not dead in the street, but just situations in life where people just don't F with you no more because they think that you wrote the last chapter, like there's nothing more new to you coming. And here I am just continuing to write chapter after chapter after chapter. And that's why I identify a lot with Mike Tyson, because I knew he had that in him. I knew deep down he was going to survive all of this. See, the ones you think they may not survive, I see something in people that when I see something in people, I've got to encourage them. I got to let them know I see what the world don't see. And when you're in that position, when the world turns against you, you know what you have on the inside. And that's a very frustrating place to be, because you know you got so much more and the world turns on you. So here you are, made $400 million in your career, blew it all on people who don't give a damn about you, but now you've come back. Where are those people now? I know several women that told me, I slept with Mike Tyson. You bragging about that? That's the high point of your life? I know an old lady next door to me that lived next door to me years ago. She can't be. She was in poor physical shape. She can't be with us now. And I'm not trying to blaspheme or, make fun of the dead. Her name was Zelda. And every time she met somebody, within 3 minutes, she's going to let you know she slept with Muhammad Ali. Really? Is that something? Okay. You might tell one of your girlfriends that, but come on, you meet new people. You're the church function. And somehow and you're like, I don't believe she said that. Everybody's looking at you. That's all she could talk about. So there are people out there that they just want to suck you down, the good way and the bad way. They do the good way to get next to you and the bad way when they just want to get your money afterward. And he had to see all of this and learn all of this and reinvent himself and dig deep to bring out the goodness that he knows he has. Now he's a family man, he's a father, he's a wife. He's brutally honest, and that's the way to be, because why not? There's so many gazillion stories out there about him. He's been broken down so much that in building himself back up, what can you say? Now, it might be one day, 10 years from now, you'll see Mike Tyson as America's favorite dad. You never know, right? Yeah, I'm going to send my little white kids to play with Mike Tyson's kids because he's such a wholesome guy. But meanwhile, they were getting upset when he said he wanted to eat Lennox Lewis's children. I want to eat his children. I'm this, I'm that. All praise is due to Allah. And they're like, oh my God. You know what I mean? He's saying that now, So I look at those things and I look how society, the other society, registers and tries to put a cover on our images, when me from the inside, although I was never in his situations and didn't grow up in the impoverished, and we weren't rich. I had my needs and a few of my wants, but I was raised pretty good. I loved my childhood, right? And more money wouldn't have made it. Like I said, we weren't dirt poor. We weren't rich. We were right in the middle, like the middle and a little less. The middle, not lower middle, but the middle and the lower end of the middle. Like when you see your tank on E and that little gauge is like overlapping, it's on E, but it's on E a little lower than E, right? So that's the way it is. We split hairs that way. But he did an excellent job to live all of those lifetimes in one life. He's 3 years younger than me, and he's lived and he's seen things, pet tigers, prison, fame, TV commercials, lots of money, bumped the car and tried to give away the Rolls Royce to the cop. I mean, could you imagine? You could sit down with him for a year and story after story after story would come out. I know with the stuff I've been through, just being a regular dude, not with all that fame and fanfare and money, man, could you imagine? And to survive. So people say, oh, he looks so old. Listen, man, wouldn't you age a little bit? I think he looks good for his age. He just has the gray hair coming out, and that makes the person look older. But And he's done drugs. He was doing drugs when he was young, while training and doing stuff. Thank the creator, he didn't get AIDS the way he was going through women. Most men don't even understand what that's like. I mean, I don't understand what it's like, but from reading and following the sport of boxing, even Muhammad Ali, you have all these gorgeous women coming at you. And somebody made a comment today about, oh, there's no excuse for cheating. No, it's not. But it is hard. You're healthy. You're well trained. You have good intentions in your mind. And you see these visuals, people coming at you. You know what I mean? It takes a very unique person to resist that at a young age. So at 13, he's this version of Mike Tyson. In 7 years, not even the time it takes for a person on a 20 or 25-year job to retire. And you're such a different person. And I did all this, the same job, punching in the same clock, going to the same place, and you pumping your chest up because you got a pension now, which pensions are hard to come by now in 2022. And he's 20 years old, broke records already. He wasn't demonized as of yet. The whole Robin Givens thing, the embarrassing thing, Ruth Roper, her mother, what's the guy's name? Baseball player Dave Winfield. The mother gave one of these baseball players STD. She was a gold digger, and the daughter's a gold digger in training. Even Eddie Murphy joked about it. Nobody in Hollywood wanted to deal with Robin Givens because she was a pass around. Let's just call it for what it is. And don't get in the comment section, oh, you cannot disgrace and call a black. Some of our sisters, they're going through phases. I will never disrespect them. But at that particular time, a woman like Robin Givens, she was looking to be a come up or get with Michael Jordan. She tried. I don't think he dealt with her, but different ones. And she was trying to come up. That's what it is. And your mother's teaching you this. This is what it is. I mean, women have more than one sex partner. Sometimes they think that's going to be the one where they're going to be with. Sometimes they want to have a little fun. They're just like guys when they're younger. But we demonize women when they do have a little fun. You know what I mean? They may make a mistaken judgment and cheat on somebody or it's life. These things are going to happen. But somebody like Robin Givens, Michael is a manic depressive. He shakes. He makes threats. It's very scary. In front of the white woman, Barbara Walters, she's looking to dig up dirt on black relationships. And, now that we're talking about that, about black love and black relationships, I forgot my towel, so I got to use my hand. I got about 2 acres of head here. You know what I mean? Mike, you understand. We got big heads. I know. I was in a wonderful discussion with a close friend, and she gave me another insight that was worth considering. Okay, now we know R. Kelly. We know what he did and the things he did. But she gave me a different slant on it. I just think it's something that we should factor in also, right? Now, this is me saying, I know that there have been parents that knew R. Kelly's weakness and still pushed their daughter to be around because they knew they was going to get money. This is documented. Maybe some of you don't know that. And I don't sit here. We're having a conversation. If you run into a friend on the corner coming home from work and he says something and he says, listen, I know this to be true. I've seen it, whatever. Or get the paperwork. I'll wait right here. Go inside. And no, that's not how we get down here. Google it, find it. This is shooting from the hip. So there have been several situations like this with R. Kelly where they knew they were feeding their young, nubile daughter to somebody who had monstrous desires that were a bit twisted. And I'm not making no excuse for him, right? I'm not. Because I know I wouldn't want to have my daughter turned out a certain way and abused that way. But, thin slice, not the whole thing. I know that there are some, I'm going to say it the adult way, there are some hot in the ass young girls who are under 18. Come on. Who are under 16. I'm not going to say under 12 or 11. I'm not going to say that. But they're in that little age where they're developing and they're not little girls with little pigtails. And no, some. I've known them. They've tried me in my life. And I ain't dumb. When I was 15, 16, 17, I'm shooting for chicks 33, 34. I had that kind of look, that kind of body, that kind of gift to get. I didn't pay nobody that young no mind. If I was under 18, New York is 18 years old and there's nothing else to do. And I was like, okay, whatever, But he has this kind of weakness for that. And so they would go underage. But see, another point that they brought up when we were talking is that white folks, as much as they jumped on R. Kelly, their own they don't jump on. They defend their own. Ain't there something? They do these things. What's the guy? Was it Roman Polanski? I don't really follow their stuff. I watch it and I'm like, okay, this is what they do. I don't have to get butthurt and just amped up because this is what they do. They protect their own. And when they come against ours, we throw them under the bus. I'm not defending what R. Kelly has done. No. All I'm saying is that we need to look on the other side a little bit more and see that there are parents who didn't mind that. Get my daughter famous. And some of these young girls who are under 18, 16, 17, I ain't going to go no lower than that. And there are some who are 15 who know good and darn well of what they're doing. Let's just say that I'm not demonizing Brownsville from where Mike Tyson grew up, but don't you think there was a hungry young girl who knew the deal and saw and was exposed to things and might have been molested and whatever and made up her mind, listen, these men want me. They ain't going to use me. I'm going to get paid. I've heard many of them say that in private conversations. I've been around a lot of women in my lifetime. And for some reason, they always open up. And I'm that kind of guy you can open up to, and I'll keep your secrets. They ask opinions and ask things. And I like to talk. I'm not just going to sit here, hey, girl, you better give me that thing. I don't do that. I'd rather know you heart to heart and talk with you. And when you're like that, even still with grown women, it was never a problem for me. But that wasn't my goal. I like to talk. I want to know why. I want to know how. How did you get to this point in this life? Sincerely, I could be asleep now. I did a lot today. And I wanted to do at least 4 or 5 pieces of content, but the day went by so quick. And I had some stuff, I had to prepare, make sure my batteries are charged for this event tomorrow. Because I will tell it, I am starting another YouTube page that will be based on Africa, West Africa, and with this organization and all the events and the gyms and the interviews and stuff. I know to talk in bodybuilding. I haven't done it, right, in 37 years, but it's in my blood. But I'm not trying to come back that way. I'm gonna train light, but I want to be the guy with the camera. The people here in America, they're doing some wonderful things with that sport, even though I think it's still the sickest sport. You got to be a little mentally sick to get into that sport and try to push and push and push when it gets to the point of steroids. And most of these guys do. So I don't know what I'm walking into. It's a strongman thing. And I know that is probably hanging around, but I want to check out the bodybuilding here. So I've connected with the top guy here in Ghana who's expecting me to be there tomorrow. TV and all this stuff is going to be there tomorrow. But he wants me to be the one who really gets down every single day. That's effortless for me. So I got to work on that this weekend. It's not going to take away from what I do here. But I haven't even looked at the chat room. I'm just rambling because when I look at the chat room sometime, it pulls me off from my thought, but I'm not being rude if I haven't greeted you or anything like that. Let me say, yeah. 12 says, Jezebels, programmed early to harm the males. Yeah. You remember that interview with Reggie Burnett? Yeah, trying to destroy Mike Tyson's character. And there are other people who wanted that. But the other point with R. Kelly, what I want to say is that if you listen to some of his songs, and I'm not like swayed by anything. If you're something, that's what you are. But why did they come at him so hard and they didn't come after their own in white society? Why didn't they come after their own hard? They're like, well, quiet. But when it's a black man, right? Now, it was no secret, his addictions that way. As soon as I moved down to Florida in February of 2001, I was going to say 2021, no, 2001. And I worked in corrections. And I'm talking to guys who they call inmates. I hate to use that word with a black man, right? And some of the females that work there, and the general conversation, They had him pegged since then. But this is what they said. They said R. Kelly had a place in Polk County, which is below Orange County, right? That he would come to the Florida Mall. That's right there on Sand Lake Road and Orange Blossom Trail. I haven't forgotten. I'm going to soon start forgetting my way around Orlando. It's changing so much. And he would park his vehicle, nice vehicle, whatever it was, and he'd have his little stooges go into the mall and talk to bring young girls back to him. But when they saw that he was there, he didn't have a problem getting a girl or two into his vehicle. And this is before all this stuff broke. This is what I heard with my own two ears. And I was like, okay. And there's a lot of other things I heard. The video I did about Shaq. Somebody was coming down on me. Oh, you're making excuses. No. He knew what he was doing. Don't get married if you can't handle it. And sometimes marriages go sour, all that stuff. But it's a thing with us as Black men. It's hard to say no. And we can do it, but for all the discrimination and pain, and they go, oh, that's nothing but a lie. Discrimination has nothing to do with your penis. You just can't. Listen, we're subconsciously wired in America to whip out and just hit. And I don't mean hit, like violently hit, street talk, hit, have sex with, pursue as many women. That's celebrated by white society because we're supposed to be animals. And on the plantation, guess what? If you had some rare pit bulls that you were breeding and you see them getting it, goatee style, right? That's good. Spray off, make as many as you can. I'll have more help on my plantation and I can sell you all and make more money. You're going to make me rich. That's plantation behavior. But it carries over into the present day right now. Because there's no law in America saying you can't get as many women as you want pregnant. But the minute you can't take care of them, we're locking you up. We get free labor for you and we rule another family because the state becomes the daddy or the stepdaddy, taking care of your kids and you're going to pay for it. And plus we get to break up families. But what was R. Kelly singing about early on in his career? And maybe he changed up a little bit, more sexual, but he was talking more about Black love. And it rung a, I was like, whoa, that's against their agenda. So they're not going to treat him like they treat the white dude in their society who does worse things. They'll give him a smack on the wrist or keep his name out of the press and make him walk out the back door to prison. And he's all right. But let it be a Black man. And again, I'm not making excuses for R. Kelly. I'm just saying that let's be even with this thing now. What was it that he was such a threat? They always want to knock off somebody who's iconic, who has a connection to the Black community, and who is very influential. They want to stick in their so-called stars that are artificially manufactured, that they can control. You think these stars just walked and they have such talent? Most of what you see in Hollywood is not the most talented in America, but they're the most controlled and they can be used. They do whatever little rituals. I'm not going to get into the whole conspiracy theory thing, but they are controlled to mold your mind. Look at Anderson Cooper as a white man. If he rang your bell, you'd let him in with no problem because you trust him because of the imagery and how they invested so much into him to being that honest guy. And he's just as much of a liar, spouting the lies of propaganda, but they have to invest in the face of it. You see what I mean? So there's a lot of manipulation, but Black love is unacceptable. And the Black feel good is unacceptable as an escape from the pain. We're having too much fun. The niggas are having too much fun. They're loving on each other. And the songs, the music is a thing with us because we are spiritual. To really be into the music, you gotta have that spiritual jack, meaning that with electronics, like back in the 80s, you have a jack for this, the auxiliary jack, the left speaker, the right, the front, whatever, surround sound, whatever, sensor speaker. And we got extra jacks on us that we can connect with so many things that they can't. Their stuff don't have but 2 jacks. We got like 25. We can plug things in. We can do so much. You take any one of us with no music lessons and put on some music and we got a way of moving our body. And they can't figure it out. You leave a little black kid with a little pen and he starts doodling. Oh, he has some talent. They know that we're the Superman and Superwoman and they don't want us to be connected. So they will allow some of us to go higher to a point before shooting them down. Nigga, you can't get too high and too influential over your people when we're the ones who are supposed to be manipulative and influential over your people through you. So don't go pushing on some black love stuff and making black folks feel good and look at each other in love. We trying to push gangster rap and you pushing this stuff. Yeah, we making money off of you from the sales, but don't go too far. If R. Kelly was pushing LGBTQ, if R. Kelly was pushing that he was a cross-dresser, I'm not saying he was, he'd be free now. He'd be walking around free now. Oh, R. Kelly.
Oh, he's such a great man. Yes, he is.
Hey, what kind of weird voice you got? How your voice change? What is wrong with you, man? Right? So, and when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to the entertainment, the music industry, since he is labeled a deviant and somebody whatever, well, hell, he fits right along in with all of them, don't he? So why is this big fuss over him? Not excusing the things that he did. Control yourself. Find a woman of age, if you like the younger girls. They do it in porn all the time. 18 years old, barely legal, but they're legal. But they get these little flat-chested, petite, slim-bone chicks that they might be 19 or 18, but they look 16 or 15. So they get that fantasy off, which is kind of dangerous, right? But do it safe, whatever you do. Don't do anything that's going to land you and mess you up. So people secretly now listen to the R. Kelly music, but publicly they have to denounce him now. Another one chopped. Michael Jackson, they try to do him. Everybody they try to get. But once they can't control you, you have great influence. You know, so now they have artificial intelligence where they keep your videos from going out. They want to control everything. Cancel culture, propaganda. You can't be independent. Look, I'm not even into the hit thing like an ego thing. But my video, I'm lucky to get 100 hits on some of these videos. And I know it's a damn lie. You know what I mean? Because I don't do this for hits. I do this because I do this. This is what I do. Come on now. I got mics over here, mics over there, gadgets over there hanging around. This is what I do. I've invested in this and with the kindness of those who have donated to keep this thing going. But this is a passion thing for me. I walk around with gadgets all day, every day. I'm able to record, whip something out from under my arm, pull something out from a butt crack. No, I'm just joking, y'all. I ain't like that. I don't have no funky equipment. But I'm just saying that our love for each other and our understanding of each other and not believing the narrative of the so-called mainstream media, which is a farce. And I will say that I am very much turned off to all of this. How they manipulate and how so many of us are just so damn stupid that we'll look at our brother or our sister and depend on the so-called mainstream narrative of us and of them to try to smear us against that person, or smear the person so we don't reach out to them. I mean, if you're raping babies, again, I'm not giving no excuses for R. Kelly, but so many of them in their bloodline, these white folks do some terrible things and they get discovered, and a lot of them don't get discovered. Could you imagine what they're doing behind closed doors? And their little cliques and their little secret societies. These white celebrities adopting black kids, but you demonize the black kids in the hood when you're at the red light passing through the neighborhoods. Oh, make sure the windows are rolled up and lock the doors. But you now want to go to Africa. And they say all the children there are documented, but you don't want the bloodline from America who knows your dirt. You want to get children that don't know because they see the propaganda and they think white is right, because that's what it is over here. I'm going to just tell it like it is. There are very few who understand what is going on. You see the video. If I didn't have the athletic competition to go and videotape tomorrow, one of my missions is to go out here. I'm going to start. Now I know it. Ain't no random questions. I'm going to go out there and talk about America. What do you think about America? You tell me. Now they're going to want to show themselves and say, what video? Where's the video? Where can I find it? I'll whip out my card here. Boom. It'll be up in 2 days. It'll be up in 1 day. It'll be up by tonight. They're all going to want to show their friends. And they're also going to see the comments in it. I'm going to depend on you to tell the truth in them comments. I'm going to have it as a constant thing. The beat down Memorandum 46. I got a thing. Look, the way they say the way he has a heart on for him. Yes, I do. I get hard faster looking at Memorandum 46 than I do some woman's backside. I know I'm crazy, but it's the truth. There's so much work here to be done. They're just steering people right into the trap of America. And their opinions are formed of us. And then some of us, we live down to it. Because most people coming here from America, most of them ain't really getting along. Because they haven't washed off this stuff off of them. And I was just thinking today, earlier, there's the girl Victoria that you saw in the video who sells the fruit. She has a little fruit stand and she cleans up. I don't know where she gets her fruit from, but she got mangoes this big. She's recently getting smaller melons because she said that they're charging at the market where they have it like all there. Like everybody goes there to this market somewhere far out. She has somebody with a pickup truck that helps her bring it out and she sells out all the time. They're charging too much for it. So she started getting into the smaller melons. And I brought one home and I chopped it. I was like, whoa. I put it up on Instagram, LanceScurv Instagram. I have a lot of posts that automatically go up, so you're gonna have to dig down. You won't miss that melon. That thing was good. She was getting ready to go home and I saw it and I'm like, yo, let me get that last one. And I sat up and ate it like a hog. Cleaned my gut out. Too much information. But even the girl next door, I forgot what her name was. There's a small bar there and she runs it all day. And I don't mean bar like you go inside and you sit by the counter, whatever. It's just a small area, like this little small area that I'm in, and it has drinks all around it. There's no bathroom, there's no place, whatever. And there's just chairs out there and a big awning and people come after work. Just a local small thing. You go around where they're doing construction and take a leak or take a dump. Unfortunately, I was on the rooftop and looked down and I know what all those young ladies look like. You know, that's where they go to the bathroom. There have been times I've chuckled in the video, like, oh my God, too much. But the other lady next door that we did, Tina, the short video, and I speak to her every day, right? There's other two, and there's the other young lady that brought the smoothies over here to me when I was on that live stream. And it's just a beautiful sense of community and they all work with each other. And it's bringing that joyous ache back in my heart. There are some who may not be of such a divine spirit. There's envy out here. There's ignorance out here too. I'm not going to just say it's all this or all that. But where I am in this apartment, as we work on our home, I'm like, she said, when you're done, you're not going to come around here. I said, listen, I'm going to be down here 2 or 3 times a week at least. Worse when I'm driving. I said, I love it here. I really, really love it right where I am right here. And it's a good feeling to get to this age where I could be so toxic if I didn't think a certain way and didn't change my filters or have experience enough to know that I can't let a certain situation clog up my emotional, my spiritual filters. That I can still, as much as I've been through, come here to Accra, Ghana, on one little street in a simple little place and feel like I belong. One of the ladies there, she said, yo, I haven't seen you all day today, and I was going to come and knock your door and see if you were all right. It wasn't like she's coming to knock my door to come over here and get laid. No, she genuinely, they the girl in the pharmacy, Mr. Johnson's pharmacy downstairs. All just a certain way, and they all work along with each other, and that's the way it should be. Oh, even Betty at the beauty parlor. All of them. I see them every day. When I walk down the street, I can't walk down the street. I got to walk to each one. Hey, how you doing? So walk back to this one. You okay? Whatever. And talk a little bit. Or listen, y'all, I'm in a rush. I'm going to come rap with you when I come back. If I come back too late, then I'll see them the next day. They know. Oh, you're working hard today. You were on the computer all day. I didn't see you. You didn't come out. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of hooked on what I do. But that sense of connectedness that we as Black people are supposed to have. Not that, you got that Range Rover. You think you all that. Oh, watch, when I get my car, I'm going to get one bigger and better than that. What? Why are we bringing the white man's trinkets against each other? I'm not saying that we should be broke. I'm just saying this. Why does it take for us to be dead, flat, broke, all of us, before we can get along? Admittedly broke. Not that I'm broke, but I'm lying. I'm trying to front. Why? And as soon as we start to get some kind of pseudo status in their world, we start to pump our chest up. You get acknowledged by them, so now you separate yourself from who you are. It should be one for all for one. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Let us deal with R. Kelly. If you feel Mike Tyson was an animal back then, let us deal with him. Let us talk to him. We're the best antidote for our people. Not some white man, you sitting on the couch and he's, so you say you have violent feelings toward white women. Okay, where did this start? You know what I mean? And they're going to try to get you on some drugs and get you even crazier than what they say you are. And then when you act out because you're on a certain substance, they're going to say, yes, see, he's got problems. Give him more. Any dealings with them just messes us up. Leave us alone to our own selves. We will heal. We will. But we got to get away. And there's nothing wrong with having nice things. But don't let it be your God, and don't put it before the love you have for your people. Because this life is short. It goes by quick. You know, I'm not trying to talk about the next decade of my life, but I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. I'm going in full force. I'm running till the wheels roll off because I got life force, this flesh in this body. One day I'm going to have to say, well, you know, Penis, we had some really good times together and I got you into a lot of wonderful situations, but you got to go back to the earth. No. You got me more pleasure than most of these other dudes who talking shit and can't. But I got a crazy imagination. We got to part with all of that. And the ego is going to go with it too in a painful way. If we don't tame the ego from now, if we don't slay ourselves in a way I don't mean commit suicide, but if we don't slay those things that need to get off of us. We didn't come into the world with that, but we got caught up in it. And now we rate ourselves according, and we feel bad when we don't have certain things. I'm not trying to say that I don't want certain things, but my priorities are so different now. I'm really, really enjoying life. I'm going to enjoy myself tomorrow. I'm enjoying myself right now. And that's what I want to do. Go lighter and lighter and lighter in my spirit so that when my body gets called back down to the earth, I've been floating. I took flight long before the runway ran out. I'm not going to taxi down and being so carnal and just fall into the body of water. Like they always got to have a body of water by the airport so the flight in the air can lift up easier. No, I'm flying already. I want to go higher. I don't have to wait until I transition. I'm flowing right now and I'm in a good place. I'm going to fight like hell to keep it that way. I'm going to protect myself at all times. But we got to look out for each other instead of letting some of us fall when we see that some of us are being attacked because of the potential that you have to resonate and vibrate and motivate your own people. Because it has to be that way. No matter how nice they act to you, they're looking out for their own. They'll turn the cheek and turn the eye from what they do, but they'll come at you with full force. So, and I'm not saying let somebody molest a child and let them go. Beat their ass, yeah. But we need to have our own set of ways so when things are happening, you know, they'll think twice. Or before things happen, they'll think twice. It's a very complex thing, but we're wired in a way that's not, it doesn't put us in an advantage. It's not going to work. We're not going to change if we don't change. We're not going to change unless we make an effort to change. You can put on all the dashikis, you can put on the righteous colored caps, you can put on all the expensive ankhs, you can get online and talk this righteous talk and soundbite other YouTubers and come act like it's your own. But if it's not authentic, it's not going to take flight. Like I always say, you can take chocolate icing and smear it over feces, but you don't have the right to call it chocolate cake. If you think so, and you're going to lie to me and tell me it's chocolate cake, then you take the first bite. You're going to get a mouthful of sweet doo-doo, sweet from the icing and crappy from the shit. We lie to ourselves too much. We come out here to the motherland and act just as foolish as we did in America. That's why I don't really mess with too many people. Want to come out here and be YouTube stars and all this stuff. I'm not trying to be no YouTube star. I'm just me. The way I am now is the way I've always been. Just me. If you call me on the phone and I'm talking with you, that's the way I am. I don't change myself because of this. I'm too old for that. I was on stage 40 years ago getting standing ovations just for the way my body looked. Do you know what that does to a person on a psychological level? I'm not looking for no attention that way. I'm just vibing. If I get attention, I know how to use it. If I'm funny sometime, I know how to use it. You know what I mean? We got to use our abilities for the good. If you're a comedian, you make people laugh, use it to teach. Make them laugh while they learn it. Ha, 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 ha. Oh, damn, that's true. But if you do that, those in that society want to snuff you out or push you out. They couldn't do that to Paul Mooney. They just had to, oh, God, we can't wait till this guy dies. He's actually going up on stage and talking about us and laughing. You know what I mean? And other white people are laughing too because they know it's true. Well, we got to continue that. We need the spirit of Paul Mooney, regardless as to what they say about things in his life. And, you know, he had kids, but he liked to do other things. We kind of pick up on that. But so what? We were brought up in this garbage can called America. So how are we going to come out and not be stinking? You know, the dysfunctional situations, the trauma, being demonized. Yeah, I'm sweating. I'm getting all down in it. Just being demonized and followed around in stores, and, you know, young girls, white men, you know, look at you and want to do things with you, but then they turn around and call you animals. Confusing. Sexual beasts we're looked at. Dumb black men on these ads. Yes, I'm a well-hung black man. Do you know what that sounds like? I'm well hung. You keep messing with Missy Ann, you will be well hung. Well hung. And how they used to, the sex farms, and I'm reading about these things, how they really, really were into the sex thing and, you know, buying certain slaves according to the penis size and the women, their breasts and butts and all this stuff. They're fast, the same. That hasn't changed. The dynamics and the proximity hasn't changed. The dysfunctions still live on. They still live on. And we're acting like they're not there. Why is interracial porn one of the biggest categories of porn? And they had this is stuff I'm regurgitating before I go. I'm gonna go to bed soon. I have enough time because I'm gonna purposely wake up late and go straight to the function tomorrow. So I'm good. Just got to pack my bag. I have a tendency, like when I pack my camera bag, I take too much. I'll be sitting here like, why did I bring all this stuff? I don't need that. But I'm going to bring enough. I make sure my power is charged. My batteries are charged. But like that being said, not much has changed. We've glossed it over. And when people bring up things and things happen, they want to push it down. You think when you watch the news at night, let's see what happened in the world today. Let's watch the news. They chose what's an important story to put out there. And why did they choose those stories? If they have a certain narrative they're pushing, you must understand that the news is a business. They have to keep things damn near so sensationalized to keep the butts in the seats, because those advertisers want people and eyes on their ads. And the advertisers are whores, because as much as they'll say something like, say, for example, I had a network, right? And I'm talking about them. If there's a lot of people watching me, they're not going to support me, and they probably won't do it, but they're going to find a way to profit from the eyes and the people who watch what I do. You know, just kind of quell that kind of thing down there right there. You can talk about this, you can talk about that, but don't talk about the Jews. And, that's how they do. It's a straight up business. They do not care. And many of the black media outlets, the so-called black looking media outlets, what is it, Telemundo that bought The Root? Now The Root is looking real nice and official, but who really controls what goes on? Why we can't say what we really want to say, or we're going to be banned. If I put on a dress and makeup and whatever, man, there'd be 2,000-3,000 people they let on this live to come in there, but they have to keep it, only to the number that it is. And I appreciate all of you being here, but maybe there are more people here. The responses I get lets me know there's way more watching than what numbers show up. I don't even watch that anymore. I just do what I do. Do what I do. I'm not going to sit here and I got to chop a tree down. Well, how many times does it take for? No, just keep chopping. Just keep chopping. Just one day it's going to get knocked down. So we got to know the tricks of the enemy to know how to knock down their trees. But right now, there are a lot of young folks that are learning, but there are a lot of us older folks and some of the younger folks that we're not going to make it. We must be brutally honest with ourselves. We're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. And it saddens me, man, because I love our people. I love what we're all about. And yeah, we make bad choices and mistakes, but since the brain doesn't develop till 25 years old, what do you expect? You know, and I don't have a defeatist attitude. At this age that I am, I have more enthusiasm for life than I ever had in my entire life. And yet I still carry the advantage of these decisions that I make and experiences that I've had, even the fact that I've had to, deal with the consequences of poor decisions. There's a learning thing in that. You step in crap in the backyard, you know where not to step the next day, right? Dog doodle back there, don't go out there. You better stay to the left of the yard because he likes to do his thing on the right side. So there's no excuses. You already know the tricks of the devil. You already know how he operates, right? So why are we still getting caught up in the same old things? Some of us. We know they build you up. They use you. They applaud. Okay, he's getting too popular. He's getting too famous. You know what I mean? That's right. I just caught my eye. Mike Tyson overcame a lot. You're right. Salute to him. That's right. Yes. Neil Frazier, AK Metamorphosis. Black Butterfly. One of the most gifted brothers you ever want to see. Writing books, the wisdom he has, just speaking. Whenever you're ready to come back on the show, brother, just let me know. We'll get down. I'll zip it, man, because when you speak, I got to listen. And we have a lot of great people out here that are not driven by ego. They're driven by that old-fashioned love that, we want to bring the culture back, the real culture, not the hijack culture, not the one where they offer you fame and now you sell your soul to them and now you can't even make money and have your own. I want to go back to the days where, a song could have been 3 years old, but we still playing it at the house party. You take the dining room chairs and put it all around the edge, whatever, put the red light bulb. You may have something going on down in the basement and you play your songs and there wasn't even no mixing then. Between songs, you just, what you gonna play next? Don't worry, it's a surprise. Let me be your rocking chair, rock you everywhere. Let's get it on. Come to me, baby. Woo! I'm thinking when I was young, that was about a rocking chair. Rock, rock. Come to me, baby. Let me be your rocking chair, rock you everywhere. Let's get it on. Come to me, baby. You know what they were talking about. But the song and the culture was so pure, the artists didn't have to pull their titties out. They didn't have to talk about burping the next generation of babies. And what's the new song out? Throat Baby or whatever. Do you hear? And they're not even leaving it to the imagination. Pull that up. I think it's Throat Babies or Throat Baby or something like that. Somebody sent that to me. It's a song about oral sex. Graphic. And they telling it. And the girls are talking about it. The dudes are talking about it. Is this what it's come to? We do have strong sex drives. Yes, we do. But they're rewiring our mind and the minds of the young. Do you know what they're setting up? They're putting it out there so graphic. We would play songs, let's get it on. We knew what that was all about. You know what I'm talking about. Come on, baby. Yeah. Let the love, man. But see, they did it in a way. Now they're saying it graphic. And we used to listen to the songs or the Rudy Ray Moore, the Dolomite, right? Richard Pryor, Red Fox, all the old albums. They were cussing and saying things, but they were funny. And the parents would go and we'd sneak and we'd play. They might go to the store, but let's play that for a little while. Turn it down. Get by the door, and you be the lookout by the window. Your parents coming. Oh, let's put it back. But that was innocent then. The kids that now have access, you don't have to go and sneak and find nobody's stash. You go right on YouTube, or better yet, you go online. You can see all the porn you want in your phone. This dude was at a counter at the store, little local store. And he put his phone down to get something back, and he accidentally hit the volume. Everybody waiting in line, they didn't mind, like, this is different here. Oh, go ahead, get your thing, whatever. He put his phone down. We all heard, I want to come. I was like, this guy's sitting up in the store watching porn. The babies are getting this too. And they're seeing it celebrated on the videos. Just like when we go on Channel 13, PBS up in New York City, and they had some show. I mean, they had I, Claudius, and they had titties hanging out, and somebody said the word bitch. Next day in school, oh, did you see? She had her titties out, and she said and every time you heard that thing, do the mature subject matter, parental is advised, right? We knew that was a good show. So if they were watching the living room, you keep the door cracked and you peeking, depending on how your house was made up. And next day you talking about it, just off of those little things. But now it's graphic. There are women that I know that they learn how to perform certain acts from a young age because of what they saw in porn. And they told me this. This stuff is so accessible. I mean, the way I live my life and the things that have happened to me, I was exposed to things early, and it was what it was. A lot of women took advantage of me when I was young. It's always a nice looking young man, very mannerable. It was long before I had muscles. I knew what to do because a female cousin took advantage of me when I was 5 years old. So I knew how to perform certain acts. And I rolled with that. I wanted that as I got older. Either you shut down or you pick it up. But most weren't like that. Most didn't know. You see what I mean? So what they're exposed to now, what will they be so accessible to doing now? And even over here in the motherland, I was discussing this also, and I'm going to run after this. I'm going to jump into bed because, I get talking about be here for 6 hours and I don't have that kind of stamina no more. But yes, I do, right? But it's a different mentality towards sex here. It's like a trade-off kind of thing. You take care of me, I make sure I give you this. Or if you can give me something or whatever. Well, I'm not saying they're prostitutes here, and they do have prostitutes here. But it's a different mentality other than, oh, I like him. He's fine. So-and-so, so-and-so. He's so cute. Here, it's like business, like, okay. And so a lot of the younger girls have that mentality. And a lot of these younger girls who are getting pregnant, 13, 14, 15 years old, you think it's 13, 14, 15-year-olds getting them pregnant? There's grown-ass men doing it. But a lot of them, they know. I'm not demonizing a young girl, but like I said, I was riding my bike not too long ago, and it was early in the morning, and I was riding back to the apartment, and there was a young girl coming up. She had a little schoolgirl outfit. I'm talking young girl, not even developed in no kind of way. A little girl, but she had it like 12 or 13 years old. She was just so bony and skinny. Even if she was developed, I wouldn't look at her that way. But she's walking, and I stopped. I didn't want to go in front of her. I stopped, and she looked up at me. I'm like, what the hell? What was that for? So I couldn't even turn my neck to look where she was going. I was like, whoa, no. The way she moved her mouth, she was educated in those things. So I had the bike and closed the gate, and I looked, and she stopped. I said, what the hell? What kind of demon is this? I was numb. I brought my bike upstairs and sat down in front of the computer like, didn't even know what I had to do. Every day I got things to do. I actually sat there for an hour. Got my food, set it in front of me. The food got cold. A fly landed on it. I didn't want to eat it no more. I was like, I'm messed up for the rest of my day. It wasn't the fact that she just did that. Who has she been doing that to know that? What's going on here? Why is she so brazen to approach an older man like this? Who is giving in to this? Who is, allowing her and giving her money? And I've seen things here. No, I haven't seen that in performance because I don't care where I am, right? But I see the looks, I see the energies, I see people walking down the street with people they shouldn't be, man, come drive up and little girl jump in the car, whatever. And you see the car 2 hours later, you come back from the store. Why's that car parked up there in the street that they didn't pick up the kid from? You start walking toward the car and they jump out. Hey, what's going on? I mean, it happens everywhere. But I remember in Baisley Park in Queens, I was parked up with somebody way over age, okay? That's the spot where you'd go to. Baisley Park, Lover's Lane, right by the lake and stuff like that. Cars never parked next to each other. There was always 2 spaces between. Because if you look sideways, you didn't see the people in the corner when they were getting busy. But we're adults. And so we saw a car pull up. And there was a white man and a black woman. And the black woman got out of the car. I'm sitting there observing this. We both were, me and the young lady, right? And so I didn't know there was a third person in the car. So it was a little girl. And she leaned out and said something to the mother. And she's like, go back, go back. And they closed the door. We hit our lights and we raised hell. There were some people who saw that. She jumped out the car. The white man got away. So what you think that was? Don't you think their mothers out here selling their daughters for drugs? There's some who are like that. You know the story I always tell. I ain't gonna bore you with it again, but there was a pastor who had a crackhead daughter, and the pastor would have the crackhead daughter bring her daughter over before the service to have sex with her grandfather, raw dog. And she was a little girl. That's the stuff there that gets me. And the little girl, the mother is on the side of the bed counting the money that the grandfather gave, and the bed's rocking. She ain't even turning around. She's not even caring. Mommy, mommy. And the father's grunting and groaning. I have heard of, that was when I was driving the bus. And they kind of found out what I do online. And they're like, Lance, can I just talk to you about something? Tell the story, just keep my name out of it. And to see how that messed up that young lady. Nice, very nice person. And she knows she's messed up. She knows she's touched. Some people, it may be beyond therapy, man. You could always heal up, but if you keep chopping a wound, let it heal. Chop a wound, keep chopping it. You get reminded, you don't get help. You see other situations. The trauma. We already put into a place that is not advantageous to our healthy growth. And then that little girl made to put on a dress, not even allowed to wash up. Not that it would do anything for her on a psychological level, because we all know people who have been violated. You go in there for that 2-hour shower, you just wash and thinking you can wash it away. What you doing? I'm taking a shower. But you said that an hour ago, you're running all the water. I gotta wash. And it still doesn't make you feel clean. And she was still, after the act, made to put on a dress. And the crackhead mother would go, and the granddaughter would go on with the grandfather while he preached, and she was in the front row. And I'm sorry to be graphic. I have to tell these things sometimes over and over. There are new people who never heard it. And how did I get from Mike Tyson to this? I'm just flowing because I'm going to end. But she's sitting in a service singing these songs to Jesus, got the Bible in front of her, and she was the model granddaughter, the grown-ups next to her helping her out. But she told me this. They're praising him at some point, like, oh, you're such a good pastor. Oh, my pastor, I love my pastor so much. He's such a good man. They give me a little testimony. And his lovely granddaughter, who I know he loves so well. And she told me, the granddaughter that got grown now, they were always saying such nice things about my grandfather while his cum ran down the side of my leg while I had that dress on and I was still stinking and dirty with his sweat on me. We need to say it like that and be brutally honest about what's happening in this world with us and our people and how sick some of us are because we brush it over. That is not somebody who wanted that to happen to her or that thing to happen to her. Them little girls that are wise and running down on R. Kelly, I'm not making no excuse for him, but that is not that. A pastor doing that before the service, and it's like he's got a whole different personality. I've seen it. I've dated women who had situations. Y'all know the stories I tell. And there's a whole lot more that I won't tell because some of them didn't want me to tell it because it would already be known like who it was by the circumstances. And there's no way for me to tell it and leave certain things out. So I'm like, okay, but that irks me. That's why I'm not going to stop spanking people on this daggone channel. I'm not saying anybody here, but just talking about life. We start out with a topic and we go off a little bit as it flows. You know, I'll talk your ears off all day when I'm in the mood. When I'm quiet and have work to do, I'll do what I have to do and set the platform up because there's more responsibilities, more things I'll be doing, but it'll be steady work, you see? So anyway, just taking a peek. Yeah, what's up with these pastors? Exactly. And that's normal for some families. You're right. Black wool, sociopathic society we've inherited, you know. Yeah, 12, you knew it was coming. So we got to talk about these things and call these people out and not be so dysfunctional and just be quiet, like scared slaves. We see something going on and we whisper about it. We'll go in the church parking lot and talk about it, but we ain't going to confront. Like, yo, nigga, that's not right what you did. You need to get up out of here or even be dealt with. And people, oh, it's a sickness. Don't give nobody no excuse and say it's a sickness. You just damn evil. That ain't no sickness. It's a sickness. Yeah, the people who want to authorize medication, they're going to classify it as a sickness because, oh, you're sick, so keep taking this. Ain't no drug going to stop no deviant behavior. That's evil. They don't come no freakier than me. But I don't go there. That's something that I would never think about that. I would never think about certain things. Some little girls. No. No. We're all adults. We all like things. We're all twisted in a certain way righteously. As long as you're not hurting nobody, beating nobody down, making somebody do something they don't want to do. If you're consenting adults, go for it. I don't care what it is. You could be sniffing farts on that white light. Oh, whatever gets you off, I don't care. I don't care. You love it, she love it, carry on. Know what I mean? I've seen some crazy stuff. Oh, we'll save that for one of those other shows. We're long overdue at one of those. I want to just sit here and just do a rant or some crazy stuff. Sometime this weekend, I'll do that. That'll make up for the lack of shows that I've been doing, but I've been grinding real hard, y'all. And it's only to build up and come back with something real strong consistently. You know we're going to do that. That's right. Evil. Warfare on every level. You're right. You're right. Sweet D, how are you, sweetheart? So good to address you live. You know, you've been leaving your comments and stuff, and you're so loyal. I love you too. Melissa Grant, Sugar P, Virtuous Sister Ray of Sunshine 12, Reginald McPherson. Yes. And you're right. We gotta keep everybody accountable. Forget about this judicial system and calling the authorities. We need to get up in their asses when it's that bad. And just like they gave Mike Tyson a pass and said, well, it was justified. He kept harassing him. But if this was 25 years ago, he's a monster. We got to have a certain standard in our community where it don't even, they will want to go to the police, the ones doing the stuff, because the police in that system will give them more mercy. They got to have the fear of the Creator in them. Just like in Islam, they say in certain countries, when somebody steals something and they get you and put your hand up and chop your hand off. Ain't no first offense and give you a slap on the wrist. Cut the wrist. You raping somebody's young daughter? You raping anybody's daughter? You raping anybody? Cut your dick off. Now you won't have nothing to rape nobody with. Cut it off. Let's just go back to what they say is this harsh thing. Because see, these people know they can play the laws. Well, I'm probably only going to get this, and when I get out, I'm going to have, ain't no sick nothing. You have to worry about it. Let every brother walk down with a hatchet down the street. Catch you doing that, and you agree, and you get other people to say, yeah, this is what so-and-so, you can catch them. Knock them out. When you wake up from the knockout, your dick will be gone, or maybe it'll be in your mouth. It would take pictures of it and put it up. bleed out. Get horny and pump more blood than it and bleed out. Because what happens with a young girl or young boy when some predator gets with them damages them for life, damages that marriage that that young girl, that young man might get into where they can't even open up to their partner, damages them away where they can't convey love to their children if they have children. It's a ripple effect. That one little person, you do that, you're going to get damaged for the rest of your life also. And every time you go to pee, it'll spray out all over the place. It won't be no little tube to shoot it nowhere. It'll just be one big clit that you have. You'll be a step above a lesbian. You'd have had a 9-inch dick and I'll be chopped it off. And like they take the sneakers and tie them up and wrap them and throw them up on the lines, the power lines. You need to take your dick in a plastic Ziploc bag and throw it up there so everybody can see it. Put a picture of your face in there. I'm vicious too, you know. I'm loving and I'm kind, but I'm sorry. I have to reveal my vicious thoughts because I will do it. I don't depend on me. Oh, you're supposed to be a Christian, man. I went to church a couple of times. I was raised in a churchified kind of atmosphere, but my parents told me the real deal about life. So don't count on me being nice. I'm not some tough guy, but I can damn sure be gangster on certain things and not think nothing of it. I've never done anything so like to say, yes, I'm a bad man. And I don't say those things. I've done a couple little things that might shock you in the name of justice. I'll do it and be like, ain't nobody see me. You ain't gonna wake up no time soon. I don't live in this city. Anyway, yes, Amir Stuckey, goatee style. That's right. Just castrate them. Don't have to negotiate no laws and all this stuff. Let it know. Let it be known. If this is what you do, this is what's going to happen. It's not going to be something where you're going to be sitting somewhere and taxpayer money paying you to sit there and just chill, watching TV, playing cards, having laughs. Don't forget, I've been a corrections officer several times over. I've seen it. I don't despise them. I mean, I despise them, those who do stuff like that. But overall, I don't go in there at everybody because everybody has a story. You know, there's been crimes of passion and, you know, people have raped people and fathers come home and killed a guy. And now he's the one locked up. You know what I mean? There have been people who have been molested and killed a molester. Now they're locked up. There was a little white boy, right? Weird looking, because you had all these young black men locked up and this little skinny white boy. And he was giving away all his stuff like he was scared, you know, like, oh, I better, because his family had money, his commissary account was always full. So every week when they ordered stuff, little things, little cheese noodles, little packs of tuna, deodorant, little things, you know, a jelly or just peanut butter and little bread, they, in addition to the food you got, which wasn't too good anyway, right? You know, it was like, well, why are these guys going in his cell? And even from young, a lot of these guys are institutionalized black men, and they'll come out in the street like, yo, man, it's a homo, man, don't mess with me. But a lot of them are going inside that cell because the little white boy was sucking their dicks. I said I'm gonna be more raw. I'm not gonna even hold it back. I'm gonna just tell you. And they would do it on the sneak tip. Like we had to go check some of the bottom cells, and it was the day room and it was open, you know, their cells are open. They go in there quick and I'm like, yo, brothers, what's up with y'all? It ain't even a white woman. It's a white boy. Some of us are sick. Man, you know, we just doing time, man. It ain't me doing it. What kind of energy are you getting from this little white boy who was molested? And I sat and talked with him sometime. Not that like I'm coming to jail to work so I can hear the story. No. But they come to you and confide sometimes. So, you know, I can't say, get away from me, you're white. I want to know what his story was. And his grandfather repeatedly raped him, molested him for years. He says, all I can remember is that. He says, I can't see my life where I never knew that. You know, I thought it was normal. And so I figured it out and started going to school. Because he was talking about it. He says, you know, little boys had little magazines and stuff, little hardcore magazines, and they see somebody giving oral sex, whatever. And say, ha, 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 and everybody's laughing. You know, I do that to my grandfather. He thought it was normal. Huh? What? Then he figured it out. And then one day, the grandfather came to do his thing. I think the parents lived in a different state, or one of them was on drugs, but the grandfather and the grandmother had custody, right? The grandfather had shotguns. When he got a hold of one of the shotguns, he's laying in the bed. And when the grandfather, would always fondle himself before he woke him up to do what he did, he'd fondle himself to the point of climax a little bit before, and he'd have the grandson finish it off. And so he woke him up and he flipped up with the shotgun. Pow! And what do they call it again? What do they call it? Buckshot, where all it spreads out. You can't miss. Short range. That's why a shotgun, if it's sawed off, is even worse. It killed him. And killed him. Now he has to prove, what happened. And they have him on so much psych meds because that was trauma. Then he did that. And then he had a love for his grandfather. You know what I mean? It's a mixture. It's not like, oh, he's just so now you feel guilty, but you're frustrated. And these things that we have to go through, this trauma that we have to go through is so much, especially as Black people that have so much on the plate coming out the box. So we really have to understand and have a little sympathy on each other, because we don't know what we've gone through in this life. And we could have had a good life, but we don't know what a person is going through today. What's the breaking point for them? Because we all know people that it's like, I just saw them yesterday. Hey, how you doing? Is everything? Yeah, everything's doing good. Everything's working out fine. You see the ambulance in front of their house, the police. You're like, what happened? They put the gun to their head and pulled the trigger. But I just saw them. They said everything was all right. You just never know. And especially in this time where the stress levels are high, we're not as connected, we're social beings, we're lonely, we feel alone. That can do a lot of things to us. And the fear that they're spreading. And the world is being squeezed more and more. Our worlds are being squeezed together more and more, where we can't move. We're like that bird in a cage that can't flap its wings, but we look outside the window and we see all the birds flying and happy. And we think we're the only ones like that. But in the apartment in the house next door, maybe another person who has their wings limited, the wingspan. They're made to spread the wings out wide and fly. And many of us have talents and abilities that we know are something good that we have to offer the world. And we're just labeled this little useless nigger. And the people around us are the same way. And so who builds us up? Who gives us hope? Who encourages? I ain't got no time for that, man. I got problems of my own. That's how people think. But we got to change that, because we're not going to get it from anywhere else. We're not going to get it from a bottle. We're not going to get it from pills. We're not going to get it from injections. We're not going to get it from snorting up our nose. We ain't going to get it from gay sex. We ain't going to get it from heterosexual sex. We ain't going to get it from bisex. We ain't going to get it from bestiality. We ain't going to get it from whatever. Whatever it is that you do is just temporary. You got to come right on back to the reality that you're trying to escape from. You see? It's like going on a vacation. I need a vacation. I can't take my reality. It's just so messed up. I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it. Got to get away. But your life should be a vacation unto itself, that you live in such balance, you clean your filters, and it's a joy. Yeah, there are going to be some rough days. But why run and go on a vacation when you got to turn around and let it be where you fix the situation, and then you break away for a while to a different environment and come back into something that's not going to be toxic and build you up again. So you need another vacation. And that's what a lot of us, that's why we're doing these substances, because our life, the way we're living it and the life that we have, we think it sucks. We're bored with life. I'm not saying I'm better than nobody else, but I make it where when I wake up, I'm like, I got this. I want to talk about this. There's stuff I want to talk about. I want to write an article today about the fight on Saturday, not because of the boxing match, but because of a point that I wanted to make about what I saw at the press conference. I'm always thinking like abstract things. I'm going to do it. I'll probably write the thing before I go to the function tomorrow. I was going to take a little church and go, I'm going to take an Uber and go straight there quick and bring my stuff with me. But I have to get this out of my soul, out of my system. Waking up with enthusiasm. So sometimes to the point where I used to be like, falling asleep, but I had to stop that. I get up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning every morning now. Even still, it's 1:29 a.m. right here. I may wake up late at 8 o'clock tomorrow, But I know I'm going to probably wake up earlier than that because the enthusiasm, the balance, and I've been eating a little better and everything, I'm good. But other people aren't. So we have to take the good that we have and give a little bit. It's our responsibility. Share something of goodness that you have in abundance. Don't hoard it up. And then what? It's going to get stale on you. It won't be of any use. Like I said, do you see birds out there? Well, I found a tree where we can get these berries. We got to hog them up. No, birds don't worry about their fridge. They don't have no fridge. They know nature takes care of them because they live in nature. They live in that system. We live in the wrong system, and we think the wrong way. We think the wrong way, and we kill ourselves off. I bought some grapes from the market down there, and I got to watch myself here. I looked at the grapes, seedless grapes. I'm like, what? They're still sitting in the fridge. I'll give them to somebody who eats them. I'm not eating them. It's the motherland. Where the seedless grapes come from? They didn't come from here. Why are they bringing this stuff over here? Why are they pumping atrazine as a fertilizer here? Why are they pushing LGBT here, Q here? See, it ain't about the black family. We have a young population here. Women are fertile. Parts are working. But R. Kelly, because he speaks about black love, they want to jump on him more than people who do all kind of things, killing babies and sacrificing babies. You think them celebrities want to have black kids? They want to turn them out and send them out into the world. Years from now, long-term plan against us to wipe us off the face of the earth, and we don't even see it. And we think some of them are nice and whatever, but they ain't going to stop nothing when stuff starts happening to us. They're worried about themselves. They ain't worried about you. Like they say, they ain't worried about your black ass. That's the truth. Anyway, this is a lot longer than what I thought. And I said, well, since I didn't do a couple of things a day, the things I want to do today, I'm still going to talk about. It may not be until tomorrow night. Some will be in the day, but I will be getting a lot of footage. The event starts at 12. That's really 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. in the morning. So, that's the difference in time. East Coast, that would be like 5 in the morning, right? It was hard making the change when I came over here. I was all jacked up. Waking up, taking a nap, waking up 7 in the evening, or no, like 6:15. It starts to get dark after 6 and 6:15. And so I'm like, is this the morning or is this the night? So I'm all right now. I'm acclimated to this place and it feels good. It's a rhythm that grows even more. The more you're into it, you gain momentum. So I'm starting to feel real strong now. I feel real strong. But to remain feeling that way, I got to get my sleep. So anyway, let me just take a little peek over here. Yeah. Oh, you didn't check us for calling us apes? I got to check that out. I will talk about that. Because Joe Rogan, he gets away with a lot of stuff. I don't care how long. Oh, you said that years ago. Once that's in your DNA, they just know how to hide it better. You know what I mean? That's the way it is. No way. No way. Anyway, y'all, let me get ready to get up out of here. And we do what we do. And thanks for being here with us. And thanks for the time and sharing the links and liking everything. Do that because it helps with the algorithms. So they got me shadow banned anyway. But I'm not giving up. We're going to come back with some other things. I have an idea of something I want to do. I'm not going to put it out there yet, but it's going to involve coming over to LanceScurv.com for content that I could not put on YouTube. But I have to investigate a few avenues tomorrow night and see if I can do this. But I'm bold enough to do it. You'd be like, yo, you crazy. How did you get that footage? Trust me. I want to be, I may not, I push just as hard, but now I want to settle down on my punches. It's like a fight that you come out and you're jumping around or whatever. And now it's the 6th, 7th, 8th round. I'm talking about a 15-round fight. And by the time the 10th round comes, now you ain't jumping around as much. Now you're coming for the power blows. You see what I mean? So that's the mentality I have on a creative level. I want to just come with power blows. So forget these tune-up fights. Let's deal with title fights with top contenders and bring the good content. Even if that heavy stuff is once a day. I'll always do the sprinkling of other things. That's what I do. I can't sit still, right? So anyway, much love to you all, and I will see you tomorrow. And I'm going to put out some good content and keep you coming. Thanks for bearing with me and understanding that, sometimes in the ebb and flow of our work flow, things can get a little heavy and it slows down things. But I'm still here, still thinking crazy, still thinking unique, and we're going to do some good discussions, and it always has to be thought-provoking. I'm not a reporter. Well, this happened today and this happened. No, we'll take a story, but we're going to look at it from a different angle. You see what I mean? Instead of just trying to run and catch a story and be another reporter. That doesn't do anything. Me to just tweet out stuff and just move stuff along. We got to think on different levels. And if you have anything you want to talk about, shoot it to me, LanceScurv.com. Everything is there in the description area below. And I look forward to hearing from you. And I enjoy hearing from you. Anyway, much love to you all. Salute to my brothers. Much love to my sisters. If you ain't a brother or sister, then I can't show you love because there's only two sexes that were made. I'm going to get hate mail for that one. Anyway.
to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes, sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they said. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Can't be a real nigga, might get you canceled. Fuck the whole system, need the shit dismantled. Coppers treat a nigga like the utmost wanted. Trying to rule the block, but don't know what goes on it. News got a story with a new take on me. Carrying out the window with the screw face on me. But I know that God love me when my blunt burn. 95 degrees and I can't get sunburn. Wonder when your government don't make me legal. Burn the whole city if I can't be equal. Get off my dick, please, Brad, I earned that. 400 years, how you still ain't learned that? I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes, sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they said. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Shout out to the crackers trying to gentrify the genre. Tell them free my niggas, middle finger to your honor. End of days coming down the seconds on the timer. Goofy niggas still trying to purchase that designer. About to buy a chopper, learn to grow my own food. Cause I don't like the look that get me in the Whole Foods. And when you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. But it ain't on me now, I'm limping cause my dick heavy. But ain't shit sweet, niggas think we thin. My whole attitude on MC Ren. It's my neighborhood now, Bob, I bought that. 400 years, how you still ain't caught that? I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes, sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they said. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. out.